Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Jen with Timeline Tarot, and this is your prediction for the second half of 2026. It is a general collective reading, so as the messages come through today, take what fits, leave what doesn't, because if it's not your message, it simply means it is meant for someone else to hear. And please check your other placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus. And if you're not sure what those placements are, in the description box of this video is a link where you can obtain your free birth chart. So Gemini, before we get into tarot, I did a little astrology homework for you, my friends. And so I want to give you a better understanding of what the second half of 2026 will look like for you. So this reading in this time period begins with the new moon in Cancer on July 14th, 2026. Will culminate with the super full moon in Cancer on December 23rd, 2026. And for you, this is will be heavily activating your second house of personal finances, material possessions, as well as your self-worth. So because both of these major lunations occur in the protective water sign of Cancer, this cycle marks a major period of financial restructuring for you and emotional security evolution. So it all begins by you rebuilding your financial foundations. The cycle that kicks off on July 14th is occurring under a rather unique cosmic sky, okay? In addition to that new moon in Cancer, it's also occurring right in the middle of Mercury retrograde, which if you're a Gemini sun sign, it's a pretty messy time for you. So Gemini, this means that you're not necessarily launching brand new financial ventures or endeavors at this time, but instead you're being called to look back, okay, at past ones. And this could be looking at debt that you currently have and creating some type of payment plan to pay it off by the end of the year. For others of you, it's looking at past purchases. It may be realizing where you made some impulsive buys, or you purchased items strictly from a place of vanity, or that instead of processing your feelings for good or for bad, you impulsively purchase something instead. So you'll be looking at those purchases, budgeting styles. If you have a budget, you'll most likely be revamping it. If you don't have a budget, you will most likely be creating one. And then you'll be monetizing talents. And that's going to require you to maybe look back at some previous jobs or skills that you had and coming up with new ways on how you can utilize them to make money, maybe even do some freelance work. So it's a little bit of a retrograde twist here for you because the first couple of weeks, it's not going to feel that great for you. It's a little unclear. It's a little muddy. It's going to feel slower than what you are used to as an air sign. But by the end of July, and once you're done looking at those old bank accounts and updating your personal budget or creating one or renegotiating contracts or making these payment plans, again, to pay off some heavy debt by the end of the year, you're going to start feeling better. And that's because Jupiter has officially entered Leo. So by the time we get to that third or fourth week, if you will, of July, this is going to light up your house of communication and your local opportunities. And that means that while you're tightening your financial belt, you're going to suddenly have all of these brilliant ideas, writing projects, maybe even like podcast ideas. Some of you may want to start like a YouTube channel, or if you have one, you'll be coming up with some brilliant new ideas on how to update the channel. You may also have some local networking events that occur in your area that you decide to attend, again, for the opportunity to make some money. As the year progresses, as the second half of the year progresses, you'll be shifting from material wealth to self-worth. So Cancer is an energy that's deeply psychological, highly intuitive, and very maternal in nature. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon rules our emotions. So because this is playing out in your house of values, this 5-month period will force you to change how you define security. You will likely realize that no amount of money can compensate for a lack of emotional integrity in your connections, emotional fulfillment in your connections. And so you're going to find yourself asking, is this job or is this expense generally supporting my well-being? Or am I just trying to prove something? Am I at a job that maybe pays well, but has a great title, but is not emotionally fulfilling? Like, am I just here for the money? Could I find a job that pays me just as well, but one that treats me better or emotionally supports me or emotionally fulfills me? And the same thing holds true for what you're buying. It's like, do I really need that item? Is it really supporting my well-being to continue spending money on this or to make this large acquisition? Or again, am I just trying to prove something? Am I being a little Knight of Wands-ish when it comes to purchases? And again, it's because you did that past reflection. Now moving forward, you're going to start questioning things. For those of you in long-term committed partnerships, you may be asking yourself, am I in this committed partnership simply because of the financial component of it? And meanwhile, it's either not emotionally fulfilling or it's just emotionally depleting. The culmination will be finalized here on December 23rd with that very powerful super full moon in Cancer. That'll be December 23rd of 2026. So whatever work you do between now and then, you're going to see the fruits of your labor. Full-time or full moons are times of endings, realizations, and completions. So whatever seeds you plant regarding budgeting or self-worth or financial independence in July and August will reach their final harvest right before the holiday season. So what you can expect during the holiday season of 2026, you're most likely going to pay off a very stressful debt or maybe like a big credit card that you have. You may see a major return on a personal investment. You may leave a job that does not value your worth to go work for someone else who does, or possibly even launch your own business or expand a current one that you have. And because it is a super moon, emotions will be running high. So you may want to try to handle financial conversations prior to December 23rd. But if you have to have any financial conversations during that week, or maybe even family discussions regarding money, try to handle them with logic rather than emotional reactivity. All right, let's get into your cards here for Gemini. Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. Tell me more about what they need to know for the second half of 2026. Let's get one more shuffle here. Thank you. Gemini, we have Vanishing Mirror, Ego Sublimation, card number 58. Woodwives, Adaptability, card number 64. Deep Diver, Diving into a Task, card number 10. And at the bottom of the deck, we have Feast of Plenty, Choices and Their Consequences, with the two swords in the background. Sort of gives me the energy of the Two of Swords, which astrologically is the moon in Libra. Okay, let's see how this all plays out for you, Gemini. Clarify this further, please, for the Gemini Collective. We are clarifying Vanishing Mirror, Ego Sublimation, card number 58, Woodwives, Adaptability, card number 64, and Deep Diver, Diving into a Task, card number 10. One more shuffle here. Thank you. We have the Three of Pentacles. We have the Death card, my favorite card in the deck, the Page of Cups, the King of Swords, you and your highest vibration, Temperance, and the Star card. At the bottom of the deck, we have Fool, a new financial beginning, Seven of Wands, and the Eight of Cups. That leaves the Three of Swords, Page of Swords, and Wheel of Fortune here at the bottom of the deck. Very interesting. Let's begin to clarify. I'm using the After Tarot deck. If you're not familiar with this deck, the images are slightly different. It does alter or change the meaning of the cards, and we'll go through them as necessary in your reading today. This is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements for the second half of 2026. We are clarifying Three of Pentacles, Death, Page of Cups, King of Swords, Temperance, and the Star for the Gemini Collective for the remainder of 2026. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Three of Pentacles is clarified by the Eight of Cups. The Death card is clarified by the Queen of Swords. That's also you, whether you're masculine or feminine. Page of Cups is clarified by the Three of Swords. The King of Swords is clarified by the King of Cups. Temperance is clarified by the Hermit. And the Star card is clarified by the Six of Wands. Bottom of the deck, the Hangman, the Page of Cups, and the Four of Pentacles. That leaves the Nine of Wands, the Emperor, and the Seven of Wands here at the bottom of the deck. It's very interesting. It's almost like and if you have seen my readings before, welcome back. If you haven't, howdy howdy. The cards at the bottom of the deck for me are like the underlying energy, and this seems to be like a new beginning when it comes to your finances moving forward. I know I'm jumping a little ahead of the reading, but I feel like this is very important for you, Gemini, because choices and their consequences, Feast of Plenty. It's almost like I'm having this new beginning. So moving forward, if I have any emotional setbacks or emotional triumphs, right, for good or for bad here, whether it is the Eight of Cups or the Page of Cups, smack in the middle is the Hanging Man. Before I make any financial decision, I'm going to pause. I'm going to hold myself back from spending money because I feel really lousy about something, or I feel really great and happy about something. So I found that to be really interesting. So it's almost like disconnecting your emotions from your finances moving forward. Okay, let's begin to clarify. I want to clarify the Three of Pentacles here. Clarify the Three of Pentacles here for Gemini. think Samuel's wandering around up here, so making a little appearance here for Gemini. Clarify the Three of Pentacles here, please, for Gemini. One more shuffle. Thank you. Three of Pentacles is clarified by King of Pentacles. Hello, Samuel. Six of Wands and the Eight of Swords. Bottom of the deck, we have Queen of Wands. Clarify that Eight of Cups for me, please. Clarify the Eight of Cups. One more shuffle. Thank you. We have the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Six of Cups. And we have Justice. Bottom of the deck, Nine of Wands. This is that look back period that I was talking about. Like some of you looking back and reviewing financial expenditures. It's unless you do this, and you look, you have the divine gift of free will. You don't have to do this, right? This is just telling you what's energetically available to you. But there's something here about looking back to those past financial purchases, if you will, and being honest with yourself. And maybe what some of you want to do is actually like write this out or type this out. But there's something here about looking at those expenditures and realizing what were the connections. When I purchased that vehicle, what was happening in my life? When I leased that vehicle, what was happening in my life? When I bought that very expensive item, whatever it is, what was happening in my life? There's something like that here, because I feel like what you're not seeing now, and like you won't see it until you actually like do this little assignment, if you will, this look back, this review, is that a lot of the stuff that you were acquiring or purchasing, you were actually doing it from a place of ego. You were operating from a place of ego. So let's say I'm speaking to a Gemini and you have a breakup in a romantic partnership. Instead of processing the loss, you found victory short term buying something. And maybe you never made the correlation between the two. So this would be a good time for you to actually look at those expenditures. Did they coincide with a loss? Someone passing away, or you lost a job, or you broke up with a friend, or they broke up with you, or you and your romantic partnership were having some issues. This is why journaling is becoming one of my favorite things to do, because it does allow you to look back. So for those of you who journal, you might want to go back and look through the journal. If you don't journal, it might be something that you want to start doing moving forward. I'm actually going to do a whole article on this on my Patreon for those of you who are members. Thank you. If you're not, you're welcome to join us there. But I want to do a whole article about shadow work in regards to journaling, because this would be the best way for you to be able to look back. But again, if you haven't journaled to date, that's quite all right. It's looking at larger expenditures and seeing how they coincide with some disappointing situations that you've had. And then it's almost like the realization that had you not purchased those items, you would most likely be in a better financial position now. So some of you made larger expenditures or bought things that you really didn't want in hindsight, or you didn't really need in the moment, but it either was from a place of ego or a place of vanity, or it was a way for you to cover up emotional loss that you were experiencing. And the realization here is, had I not done that, I would be in a better financial position today had I not made those financial decisions in the past. And that's okay. Don't beat yourself up for it, but it is a learning process. So moving forward, you won't do that. So King of Swords to the King of Cups, and the After Tower deck, the King of Cups is pouring out the cup. So it's like moving forward, being more logical when making financial decisions and not making them from a place of emotion, not making emotional purchases. Clarify that King of Swords. For me as a reader, and every reader is different, but for me, I look at queens exist in the present. They process the present. They process the past. Kings take action. It's not masculine or feminine. It's not man versus woman or anything like that, or hierarchical in nature. It's just how I see a suit of cards. And I believe that we all have masculine and feminine energies within us. So there's here with that King of Swords, it's like you in your highest vibration saying, moving forward, I'm not going to allow my emotions, again, highs or lows, or maybe even ego, to be a reason why I make a financial expenditure. Clarify that King of Swords further. One more shuffle. Thank you. King of Swords is clarified by Ten of Wands, the Tower, and the Queen of Wands. Bottom of the deck, Two of Wands. Again, Queens for me, process the present, process the past. It's realizing that you maybe even incurred some debt here that you probably wouldn't have today had you not made those poor financial decisions. And that's okay. Hey, that's just a learning process here for you. King of Cups. I'm going to put that back in the deck, but it is the Two of Wands. Clarify the King of Cups. One more shuffle. Thank you. King of Cups is clarified. Look at that. Page of Wands is in the reverse. Page of Wands in the reverse. The deck's not upside down. King of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Two of Pentacles upright, and then the Five of Pentacles. That's exactly what you're doing here, okay? You're realizing that in the past, you made some very foolish financial decisions. Now, I have to throw this out there for some of you. This is going to get a little spicy, okay? A little spicy meatball here. Only take the messages that resonate. For those of you where you went through a separation, or maybe even like a divorce, there's even a look back here of maybe being a little angry, okay, that you gave up a lot. And maybe it's just because you wanted to get the hell out of Dodge, or you just wanted to break away from that person. But there is something here about maybe exiting a long-term committed partnership and doing it in a way that was expedient in respect to time, but not fiscally advantageous for you. Like it's kind of like you didn't get the alimony that you should have received, or maybe you didn't get half of the house or something like that. It's like you took less than what you were entitled to just to have a clean break. The same thing here applies looking back at maybe past jobs that you had and realizing, oh, when I left those places, you know, I was entitled to receive, you know, I don't know, 10 weeks of vacation that I never took, or 30 days of sick days that accumulated that I never took, and they owed me that. Now, it's not suggesting that you go back. I mean, if you could legally go back and do it, I guess go ahead, inquire with an attorney. I'm not one. I'm not giving you legal advice here. So I guess if you could, Justice card, if that's something you could do, I guess you could do. But if you can't do it, it's just learning from that. Again, this is an entire learning process here. So I'm not going to, if I'm selling a house in the future, example, I'm not going to sell it for less than its value just because I want to get out from owning that property. Because maybe you did that in the past and you realize how you shortchanged yourself financially. Or again, maybe if you get married a second time or a third time, if there is a divorce, and I hope there's not, but if there is a divorce, there's just something here about I'm not going to repeat that cycle. So I'm not going to exit something, and same thing with a job. If I have a job in the future and for some reason I leave, if they legally or contractually owe me for time that I have accumulated, I'm not just going to wash my hands and walk away. So so you're not only now looking at the personal financial decisions that you made in terms of how you spent money, now you're also looking at big decisions you made where you gave money away, where you left money on the table and walked away because it was expedient for you to do that, or you didn't want the hassle, or you just didn't want to fight. You know, it's kind of like, I just want a clean break. So again, it's looking back and realizing that you were a bit immature when you did that, but moving forward, you won't be making those same mistakes again. Queen of Swords to the Death card. This is under adaptability. So clarify the Death card. It's my favorite card out of a 78 card tarot deck. For me, the Death card is the ability, especially with the Queen of Swords sitting right on it, the ability to say to ourselves or to others, something here needs to transform, something here needs to change. Something here needs to be rebuilt, scorpionic energy. And if not, then this needs to close out and then I move on. So it's having difficult, sometimes uncomfortable conversations to see if something here can be rebirthed or transformed in a better way, a more advantageous way. And if not, being the grown-up in the room to say, okay, this has to come to an end and move on. So it is a beginning, but every beginning comes with some other beginning's end. One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Death card is clarified by the Chariot, the Strength card, and the Knight of Swords. What is this? Bottom of the deck, Knight of Pentacles. Queen of Swords. Clarify the Queen of Swords for me. I just feel like the message took a different turn now. I think we're on a different storyline. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Queen of Swords is clarified by Seven of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. Bottom of the deck, we have Nine of Cups. So this is you being very honest with yourself. And I'm going to tell it to you straight, Gemini. I think you appreciate that. There's something here about realizing how you really effed yourself over in the past. There were things here you bought for the sake of vanity, or again, to make you feel good in a moment. You're, like I said, also looking back at where you literally left money on the table. And this is just being very honest with yourself and saying, like, back then I effed up, but I'm not doing that anymore. If I have to have an uncomfortable conversation with my employer as I exit a job because they contractually owe me money, I'm going to have that uncomfortable conversation as opposed to just leaving money on the table. If I'm getting a divorce or negotiating a contract, I'm not going to leave money on the table. So this is now knowing your value and worth, knowing what someone owes you, and deciding that moving forward, you're going to, I'm not going to say fight for what's yours, but you're going to want accountability. You're not leaving money on the table moving forward. And that's maybe something new here for you, Gemini. Temperance to the Hermit card. So you're going to adapt the way you deal with endings. Okay, when you're leaving a job, leaving a relationship, severing a tie with a friend, or someone owes you money, there's something like that here. You're going to change the way you leave money on the table. You're going to adapt here. And moving forward, you're not leaving money on the table. Temperance. We have the Queen of Cups. Tell me more about this here. One more shuffle. Thank you. The Hermit and the Nine of Wands. Bottom of the deck, Knight of Pentacles. Man, that Knight of Pentacles is making the rounds here in your reading today. Clarify the Hermit here. Clarify the Hermit. One more shuffle. Thank you. The Hermit is clarified by the Two of Wands, the Nine of Cups, and the Eight of Wands. Bottom of the deck, the Tower, Ten of Pentacles. All right, so I feel like love just entered the chat here. There's a conversation here between you and another individual. If you're partnered, this is you and your person. If you're single, this is a conversation between two people here in the Two of Wands. So there's a conversation here that also occurs between you, and it looks like a romantic interest here. Tell me more about this person. Tell me more about this person here for Gemini. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, that's the truth. Three of Wands and the Four of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, Knight of Wands. So, Gemini, there's something here about you discussing finances with your person. Now, that Three of Wands to that Four of Pentacles, there could be something here in regards to acquiring a property, moving, relocation, maybe even starting a business together. So if you're currently in a partnership, some type of conversation here occurs between you and your person. Again, launching a business together, relocation, or the acquisition of property. This is moving forward in financial stability with another individual. If you have not met this person, maybe you're a single Gemini, you are meeting someone in the second half of 2026. Tell me more about this, please. One more shuffle. Thank you. Whether this person is currently in your life or someone new, you're making a decision here together in regards to structure and stability of the relationship. Nine of Wands, even in a Nine of Wands card, there are two people here. So you're making a decision here with this other person. Five of Pentacles and Page of Pentacles, bottom of the deck, Three of Pentacles. So there is something here where you are coming together with another individual. I love the Five of Pentacles in the After Tarot deck because the person's coming out from being out, like they're coming out from being out in the cold, basically. So there's an offer or opportunity here that is extended to you from another individual. And it has something here to do with like moving forward, relocation, solidifying the relationship. It's a decision the two of you make together. So it's very possible that some of you, like if you're single, you meet someone in July and August, and you end up closing the year off by, you know, taking the relationship to a higher level of commitment, whatever that means for you, you know, depending on where you are in the stage of the relationship. And for if you're currently in a connection, there's definitely something here about maybe opening up a business, or possibly even the acquisition of a home. Clarify the Page of Cups. Clarify the Page of Cups here. One more shuffle. Thank you. Page of Cups is clarified by Eight of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, and the Page of Swords. Bottom of the deck, we have King of Wands. I feel like this is a continuation here of this conversation, this offer, this opportunity. Now the Three of Swords in the After Tarot deck is healed. So again, you and this person are maybe making a plan or something to maybe heal some financial issues. So it's possible I'm speaking to a Gemini where you and your person have had some financial issues. And in the latter half of the year, you're coming up with an idea, again, maybe a budget or a way to pay off debt together. That could be quite possible. So you could be healing financial issues with your person. Or like I said, moving forward with them. But there's a conversation here. And it's a very healing conversation. And if you're in a connection, Hierophant, it could have to do with taking a relationship to a higher level of commitment. However you define that. Clarify that more for me. One more shuffle. Thank you. And this is clarifying this row of the reading. Deep diver, diving into a task. So you're like diving into this task with this person. Again, creating a financial plan, a goal, how to launch a business. Three of Wands sometimes could be a card of relocating or moving forward. This could be the acquisition of property here, or like I said, a higher level of commitment. Let's get one more shuffle here for Gemini. Thank you. So there's a conversation here between you and someone else. The Strength card and the Knight of Swords. Yeah. Bottom of the deck, Five of Cups. So in the After Tarot deck, the Five of Cups, we're actually not crying over the 3 cups that are spilled. Instead, we're looking right at the 2 of Cups. So for some of you, this is a new connection, a new partnership. For others of you, this could be a new level to an existing partnership. But there is a conversation here, Ace of Swords, and you are moving forward here with someone else, Gemini. There's someone else here. It's like you're creating some kind of plan here, and it has something to do with stability, house and home, or money. Star to the 6 of Wands. Clarify the Star. And this is like a different type of victory. It's interesting how you start off this lunation cycle with the 6 of Wands. Like, this is ego, right? This is like, I drive this because it makes me look good, or, you know, it makes the ladies' heads turn, or, you know, I wear these clothes because it makes, you know, men turn their heads, but meanwhile, you can't afford the car, right? Or you can't afford the clothes, whatever it is. This is like, I'm buying things out of ego. This is very different. This is moving forward now with another individual towards wish fulfillment. This is like the healed version. So this 6 of Wands is like negative Leo energy. Don't be offended by that. If you're a Leo or a cross watcher watching, we all have positive and negative attributes. I have that listed on my Patreon site as well. I have a breakdown of the zodiac signs. But this is like energetically feeling like wounded Leo energy, and this is like healed Leo energy. And there's something here about you and this other person now. Diving deep into a task together. Tell me more about that Star card. One more shuffle. Thank you. We have Justice. Yeah, Justice is Libra. Libra is the house of partnerships, marriage, contracts, whether it's professional, platonic, or romantic. We have the 3 of Swords, and we have the Ace of Wands. Bottom of the deck, 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, there's something here. I don't know if you're healing your finances with this person. So maybe you're coming up with a budget on how to pay off debt, or some new creative endeavor here that you're launching. Clarify that 6 of Wands. Clarify the 6 of Wands. One more shuffle. Thank you. 6 of Wands is clarified by the moon. You don't see this coming, Gemini. 7 of Wands in the Sun card. Ace of Swords again at the bottom of the deck. I don't think you see this coming. I don't think you see the financial healing that is taking place, because this is an ouch when it comes to your finances, but this is healed. So I don't think you're seeing the either financial healing that you're having here by the end of the year, or maybe you're healing a relationship here with someone. But there's definitely planning and moving forward with another individual, most likely a romantic partner, on a new creative endeavor that has to do with like making money or bringing more stability to the connection that you have with them. I think that's everything here in your messages. And just moving forward, resisting making purchases because you feel really great or you feel really sad. And again, it's not because you're being like a miser about it or overly frugal. It's just you're not going to allow your emotions to impact your money moving forward. You're realizing choices and their consequences, and feast of plenty. I'm starting off the second half of the year not having plenty, so I'm going to end the year having plenty. And in between is this whole transition of realizing where we bought things we shouldn't have and left money on the table and saying, I'm not doing that moving forward. And then there's this new opportunity here with this person. Now, if you're not interested in love, you can claim this as a new job opportunity for yourself as well. You're putting out your applications and resumes. Someone offers you a job. It could be that as well. But this looks like a lot of financial healing here and a new financial endeavor by the end of the year. And I do not think you see this coming whatsoever. Anything else Gemini needs to know about this? And then we'll close it out with a Moonology card and some Oracle cards. Anything else Gemini needs to know for the second half of 2026? One more shuffle. Thank you. We have the Hanging Man, we have the King of Wands, and we have the Ten of Swords. Bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Wands. So it's almost like the worst is over for you, financially speaking. The Ten of Swords astrologically is your card. 8, 9, 10 of Swords is attributed to you. And the Ten of Swords, astrologically speaking, is the Sun in Gemini. So it's almost like moving forward, the worst is over. There's also an ending here, again, to that impulsive buying. That is a very loud message for some of you. So again, you're like looking at these past purchases or where you left money on the table, and you're like, moving forward, I'm not doing that again. Final cards here for Gemini before we get into the Moonology card. One more shuffle. Thank you. Empress. 6 of Swords. And the Ace of Swords, bottom of the deck. Look at that. Knight of Wands at the bottom of both decks. This one is 9 of Pentacles. This one is the High Priestess. I absolutely love this for you, Gemini, because, again, it's moving away from these very temporary purchases that have held you back, or, again, where you left money on the table. And it's like, I've learned from that, right? The High Priestess is the only card in tarot where the individual is actually holding the book of knowledge. And it's like, I learned from that. And moving forward, I'm going to be more wise or more grounded when it comes to making my financial decisions. I feel like your days of being the Knight of Wands, financially speaking, are really coming to an end here. There's a lot more clarity when it comes to how you make money, how you spend money, and how you save money moving forward. Bravo, bravo to you, Gemini. Yeah, financial choices and financial consequences. So moving forward, you'll be making better financial choices for you. And I think the hardest part here for anyone who's resonating with this message is going to be realizing how your ego or vanity really hindered your financial wealth. Like, you know, again, out of ego or vanity, sorry, that candle just caught my eye, you bought things that you really shouldn't have bought. It's possible even for some of you, you're going to be selling items as well. This could be like an exchange of money for an item that maybe you're realizing, I really shouldn't have purchased that to begin with. Let's close it out now with the Moonology card here, please, for the Gemini Collective for the second half of 2026. So be gentle with yourself, especially when you realize that ego was at play there. One more shuffle. Thank you. We have the end of a tough cycle approaches, full moon in Capricorn. I love this. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Father Saturn says, if you put in the work, you will yield the result that you desire. And at the bottom of the deck, you have, don't let pride get in your way, full moon in Leo. Pride, ego, don't let that get in your way moving forward. And right behind that, you have you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer, which I love because this does begin all with this new moon in Cancer that we have on July 14th. And let's close it out now with some Oracle cards. So yeah, the end of a tough financial cycle approaches. Let's get 3 Oracle cards here, please, for Gemini. Closing messages for the Gemini Collective. One more shuffle. Thank you. Reflection. Find better ways to improve yourself through reflection. Again, use this period, the next couple of weeks, to look back at those past purchases. And if you keep a journal, you may want to look back at the journal. If you don't, you may want to start keeping one moving forward, because it helps in these types of instances where you need to go back and maybe connect the dots. So there is definitely something here about you looking back. And notice this person is looking into a mirror, and the mirror here is being shattered. So again, it's realizing where you made some financial choices strictly based from a place of ego or vanity, and deciding not to do that anymore moving forward. You have light of life. Embrace your unique glow, however small, to light the way ahead. Very much that Ace of Wands feeling here that we see here, both the candle and the wand here being on fire. So maybe some new, like, I feel like this is like a new creative endeavor or freelance idea that most of you are doing here with another individual. to create financial abundance for yourself moving forward. And then you have resilience, possess strength that doesn't easily break, growing stronger under pressure. So you're going to make it through this time period here, Gemini, being a lot more resilient, a lot more financially resilient. And again, not allowing your emotions, like when you're bending and you feel like you're going to break, you're not going to immediately run to buy something that you don't necessarily need in your life. Bottom of the deck, you have freedom. So financial freedom is literally right around the corner. You have release your shackles and pursue personal financial freedom. And that's exactly what is headed your way. So that is what I have for you, Gemini, for the second half of 2026. If you like those messages, they resonated with you, you want to claim all or part of them, please be sure to click like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hype the video on your mobile device if you're able to do that. Also, if you want to join us over on Patreon, you're more than welcome to do that. Over the next 5 to 6 months, I'll be delving deeper into these messages specifically for the Patreon community. So again, if you want to join us there, you're more than welcome to do that. If not, this is quite all right. Until I read for you again, Gemini, I'm wishing you light, love, and peace.